Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. My name is Claire, this is Overroad and Theatre. It's where we talk about my two loves in my life, my theatre and my travel. Today we're going to talk about a greatly hyped show which is currently having a summer season at the Barbican. Here we are, let's talk A Strange Loop. Oh yeah, and if you want to know what my thoughts, stick around, we'll get into it in 2 whole seconds. You guys gonna not say that? Let's go. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. Let's discuss this show. I knew absolutely nothing going in. Basically, I am a hype follower. I know. Well, most of the time, because there are some shows that have been majorly hyped and I still have yet to see them. But when a show is on a short-term run and it comes over from America with hype, with the Tony Awards to its name, you know that I will be making that trip over to the Barbican, where I didn't get lost this time. I did buy a badge saying I found the Barbican. I was like, yeah, that's coming home with me. I was going to make a trip. I was going to go to the Barbican to see A Strange Loop, even though I had no real knowledge of what was going to happen during the show. So let's fill you in. The show, with book, music and lyrics, all by Michael R. Jordan, follows a main character by the single name of Usher, who is a young black gay theatre lover and musical theatre show writer, who is also an usher working on and through his show A Strange Loop, which kind of gives the show a musical within a musical vibe, because it is the usher's show being performed throughout our show. Hopefully that makes sense, because the amount of times I've said I've gone to see this show recently and people are like, oh, what's it about? And I've been like, wow. And I haven't quite managed to do it, so fingers crossed I did actually in that little discussion. But this show kind of goes through Usher's thoughts and his progression about his show, going through that, whilst also having to compete with his inner monologue, which consists of 6 thoughts who all have their own characteristics, roles, etc. And those thoughts also take on a multitude of roles of people in Usher's life as the show progresses and as the story continues. The story of the show mixes humour, and I do say that with like full truth. I giggled quite hard at a variety of times, but it also hits some really serious and very strong and important topics, such as racism, sexuality, and the stigmatism of HIV in the gay community. Also, it involves explicit language, it involves very powerful language, and there is trigger warnings. Before you enter the theatre, there is a suggested age restriction or age guidance of 16 plus. Plus, in the programme, there is also a list of support resources, of people and places you can find information if there are elements of this show which can be super triggering even. Also in the programme, I did notice earlier that it does suggest there is a quiet space during the performance in case anybody needs to pop out and come back in, which I think is super helpful and a great thing to have at your disposal, because there are moments in the show that will take a lot out of you emotionally, and yeah, it has got very strong topics involved. For me personally, I left the show with a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions. I did laugh, I also did tear up and get quite emotional through elements of the show, and I had to sit down for about 10 minutes after the show had finished. I left the theatre area and I took a walk towards the tube station, and just found a bench and sat for about 10 minutes and just took a moment for myself, which I think was very important to do so after seeing this show. And I've definitely heard from other people who've seen it and watched it that can be quite the recurring experience. Music of the show is definitely, I feel, a grower. There are songs on the cast recording that I have gone back and listened to, but it's not one that I could listen to in full on a loop, even if it was a strange one. Tried to put a pun in there. Yeah, it's an interesting collection of songs, and like I said, it's definitely for me a grower. It's one that I will kind of dip in and out of, but it's not one that I will definitely like listen back to back to back, because it could be quite a lot for a little brain like mine. Creatively, I just wanted to mention a few people. Firstly, one of my favourite things of this show creatively was the set, and it's definitely the first place I wanted to put my special mention. The set of this show has been designed by Arnulfo Maldonado. I've butchered that name and I truly apologise. I literally read it phonetically. Very, very sorry. This set though has not been butchered. It is really, really clever for the most part. See, I wanted to split it into acts, which there isn't. For the most part of this show, the set is purely a set of arches with some movable set pieces in front of the archways, and those archways are the way that the thoughts can come in and out of the scenes. However, as the show progresses and you get further into the plot, a larger set piece is hidden from view for the majority of the show and only really appears about 2/3 in. And that set was something else. It's something that I was not expecting to see, and it took the whole time that set was on the stage to fully appreciate every single little moment of it and every single part of it. It was very cleverly done, and it was definitely one of my favourite parts creatively of this show. The lighting design by Jen Shriver, one of the three hopefully, truly complements the set design in both portions, both in the archway portion and also when the large scale set comes into view. The two together just work absolutely brilliantly and very cleverly done. The other great pairing I wanted to discuss was the direction by Stephen Brackett and also the choreography by Roger Ferber-Kelly. Both direction and choreography were simple but effective. They weren't like big scale numbers, but they just worked so well. The movement of the thoughts throughout the show and through their many transformations into the different characters that were needed for Usher's story just worked so effortlessly. It's not like you were waiting for one person to come onto the stage or work out where one of the thoughts had gone. And the way that some of the harder hitting moments were performed was done in such a clever way that even though it was really hard to watch, it was clearly done in a way that has had a lot of thinking behind it, and it makes you think, but it also is not done in such a way that it's too much. And I think that idea speaks volumes to how clever the creative side of this show really. Moving on to people on the stage, previously I've already said that there are 6 thoughts in this show. The 6 thoughts are 6 characters, 6 people who take on a multitude of roles throughout the show, and those 6 plus the person being the usher or the character of the usher just work absolutely excellently together, and their group as a team just make everything work really, really smoothly and very cleverly. So the thoughts are Charlene Hector, Nathan Amarkwe Laria, Kai Yushe, Tende Humphrey Sitima, and Danny Bailey and Eddie Elliott. Hopefully, again, I pronounced everyone's names correctly because I'm notoriously bad at names. They are all incredibly amazing to watch. They, like I said, take on multiple roles throughout the show, as well as being parts of Usher's self-confidence and self-conscience, including a role which hit me hard when they were kind of introduced. One of them, during the second song in the show, literally comes in and introduces itself as its daily self-loathing, and I was like, oh my god, I feel seen. That is me. It hit me so hard because it's like the amount of my brain power. If I had a thought, daily self-loathing would definitely be one of those people. I was like, okay. Usher in my production, and also now full-time, was played by Kyle Birch. Kyle has recently seen himself moved from alternate to regular. I don't know how to word that. Regular feels like the worst word to use. But he was alternate Usher and now is playing it full time due to some schedule clashing with the other actor who was playing Usher. But saying all that, they have left Usher in some very capable hands, in the hands of Kyle Birch. I last saw Kyle on the Colour Purple UK tour. That was, I want to say, last year now. I have no concept of time, but I believe it was last year. And Kyle just did an excellent job of working his way through this show. He was an excellent storyteller as Usher, who takes the audience through his life, through his eyes, from a young age, going through all the different struggles of being him, from being black, from being gay, from being plus size, every single struggle that he has gone through, and the situations that his situation has put himself in front of, was just amazing to sit and to watch. And when I saw the cast list of the day and I saw that I was getting Kyle, I was so unbelievably happy, because I just wanted to see him do this role after seeing him in The Colour Purple. I am glad that I saw this show, and I'm happy that I made the decision to book my ticket to go and watch it. It definitely is one that leaves you thinking